Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'll be explaining the powers and abilities of Speedball. Robbie Baldwin, aka Speedball, member of the New Warriors and member of the Avengers, and one of the teachers at Avengers Academy. As a teenager, Robbie Baldwin stumbled upon an experiment in a science lab that gave him extraordinary powers. He was forever changed and given the ability to manipulate molecules in his entire body. When he goes into his superhero form, he gets longer and leaner because he can make himself look like whatever he wants to, even change his costume at will. He discovered that his molecule powers come from another dimension. As you can see here, he enters the dimension and sees all the different speedballs that he's made out of, and can harness them. Dimension made purely of kinetic energy. So Speedball's primary power is the ability to manipulate kinetic energy. As we can see here, when he gets struck by things or bounces off of walls, he can travel very fast. He was able to travel from Manhattan to Long Island in a very short amount of time. And often, when he used to live with his parents in Connecticut, he would leave from Connecticut and get to Manhattan in a very short amount of time by bouncing around. And as we can see here, he can move so fast he can dodge bullets. So with his kinetic manipulation powers, he can survive very powerful strikes. As you can see here, he gets hit by Nova while he's flying and bounces off of Nova, and he's perfectly okay. And as we can see here, he gets hit by Terrax and it sends him flying, and he bounces around inside of a metal pipe, bounces around some more, building up a bunch of kinetic energy, and comes back and hits Terrax with a super strong punch, launching Terrax across an entire city and through multiple buildings. So obviously Speedball can take a lot of damage, although he does have his limits. As you can see here, when he gets shot by a powerful energy blast from a powerful villain, it leaves a hole in his chest, although he did manage to survive. And when Nitro released a nuclear explosion blowing up a small town, Speedball was hit by it, and although he was totaled, he did manage to survive. Speedball can also manipulate the kinetic energy of other things. As we can see here, he forces bullets to stop in midair. He can also add kinetic energy to things. As you can see here, when he's facing the Juggernaut, he causes Juggernaut to veer off course by increasing Juggernaut's kinetic energy. Another thing he can do is manipulate his speedballs, allowing him to cushion people's falls, and allowing him to shoot them out rapid fire, doing massive damage to targets and objects. And as we can see here, when he's being torn apart inside of a tube that an enemy put him inside of, Robbie was able to pull himself together, remaking his human form and freeing himself from the tank. Now, during the Stanford, Connecticut incident, when Nitro blew up the whole town, the New Warriors were there. At that point, they had a reality TV show, and the whole thing was caught on TV, and that's what sparked the superhuman civil war, causing people to call out for superhuman registration. And Speedball getting hit with such force changed his powers to the point where they could only work if he was in pain. So due to the fact that his powers only worked when he was in pain, and the fact that he felt so bad, and he felt responsible for what happened, he made a suit that had spikes in it that constantly poked him all the time, constantly keeping him in pain, allowing him to generate his new powers. And he dedicated himself to making up for what had happened in Stanford, Connecticut, as he blamed himself. Now, his new powers were energy-based, so when he was in pain, he could generate massive amounts of energy, as you can see here, him generating a very powerful energy blast. He could generate energy blasts so powerful that he was able to destroy an entire city street. And he became so powerful that he was able to knock out Nightmare. He also gained the ability to fly, as we can see here. And as we can see here, when he's struck by an energy blast from Dr. Doom, he was able to absorb it and shoot it back tenfold, harming Dr. Doom. Now, although Robbie hated himself for a time due to the Stanford, Connecticut incident, eventually he found his true self again, and once again became Speedball. His old powers returned, and he continued to be a hero, and became a teacher at the Avengers Academy. Now, one thing that's interesting because of his molecular manipulation powers, it could be possible that it was a subconscious choice to make it that his powers only activated during pain, in order to punish himself for the immense guilt that he felt. And once he was able to come to terms with what had happened, his powers returned to normal. Now, that's just my theory, I just thought it was something interesting to think about. But either way, Robbie strives to make sure that the next generation of heroes doesn't make the same mistakes that he did and his fellow New Warriors. And he continues to protect the world as the masked marvel, Speedball. Also, one thing that's funny is that in the same incident that gave Speedball his powers, his cat received the same powers too. Well everyone, thanks for watching. Until next time.